This month, for our video, we decided we'd show you guys a little bit of the information on bolts that we have. That'll include stuff like how to get the size of the bolt, how to identify a bolt. So the most common one to start off with is an imperial size grade 5 bolt. It'll have 3 radial lines on the top of the bolt, and that'll tell you that's a grade 5 bolt, and it's an imperial size, so it'll be something like 3/8 or 1/2 inch or 3/4 even, or something like that. The next size up is the grade 8 bolt, and it'll have 6 radial lines. The other ones that we have are metric bolts, and they will actually have a number stamped into it. It'll either be a 10.9, a 8.8, or a 12.9 even. What those mean are, again, that's just the grade, and an 8.8 is equivalent to the grade 5 bolt, whereas the 10.9 is equivalent to the grade 8 bolt. And I'm talking about these grades, and what they are is they are the rating for the bolt. The most common rating is the tensile strength. What the tensile strength is it'll tell someone how much force the bolt can take before it actually snaps or gets any sort of fractional damage. So for example, a grade 5 bolt, it will actually bend before snapping, whereas a grade 8 bolt, it'll actually snap. In a very rare cases will you see a grade 8 bolt snapped. One of the most important things about a bolt is to get the size of the bolt. The first thing you got to check is the diameter of the bolt. So the way you do that is measuring either right on the threads or right on the shoulder. It'll get you the exact same measurement, and it'll give you a fractional for the imperial size. This is a fractional number, so this one's 3/8 and just about 2 inches long, so we'd call that a 3/8 by 2 inch long bolt. But the metric bolts are a little bit different because everything's going to be in millimeters. So they're going to be, so this one right here, for example, is a 16 millimeter, and then to get the length, of course, right from the bottom of the cap right to the end of the bolt, and that one's 60 millimeters long. The next important thing is the threads per inch. The way to get that on an imperial bolt, if you don't have a pitch gauge, is by going 1 inch on calipers or a tape measure maybe, and going right from there, it'll go right from one tip of a thread right to the next tip, and then you count all those threads in there, and it'll give you a number like 14 or a 24. But the metric ones are a little bit different, again doing everything in millimeters, and you'll measure right from the peak of one thread right to the peak of the next thread, and it'll give you a really small number, so something like a 1.0 or a 2.5 millimeters. But we also have a lot more than just your regular bolts that I've been showing you. The next thing we have is we got some stuff like plow bolts or carriage bolts, kind of similar. They have the square on the bottom, which will lock them into place, and then of course you use a nut or whatever you need to do on the other side. And then we have some ones that require Allen keys, actually, the ones that we call socket head cap bolts. They have a cap on top of it. Ones that we call socket head flats, where they're flat on the face and they're tapered going down to the threads. And then a set screw, which you'll see a lot of times in bearings or collars, normally a lot smaller than that, maybe only about a 1/4 inch diameter or a 10/32. And then the other things that we also have are lock nuts. Now these differ from regular nuts because these will actually lock on the bolt in a certain place because of, in the nylon lock nut, there's a small nylon insert in there. The threads will lock up against that. And then for the Stover lock nut, they're called, I've also been hearing them called crimp nuts. They actually crimp slightly on the end of it, and that'll lock up on the threads of the bolt itself. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for more videos, and we'll keep you guys updated on our information that we're learning as well.